Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Gia Marone, and I am the president of Women Grow. And you are joining us tonight for Amplifying the Voices of Women in Cannabis. And this is being brought to you by Women Grow and Curaleaf as we are celebrating Women's History Month. And we wanted to bring together what we feel are like that next generation, that round of women who are doing incredible work in this industry, whether through business ownership or through careers in the industry. And, oftentimes we are focused on, the actual industry itself, but we need to actually tap into the people that are behind these businesses and these careers. And so I'm so excited tonight to have 4 incredible women with us who it's interesting. We were in the green room kind of, talking a little bit, and Jayne, which I'll be introducing each of our panelists soon, but she was talking about how she had experienced a Women Grow meeting. We have Marvina Thomas, who is a former market leader for Women Grow. And so tonight you're going to be hearing about all these incredible journeys right into this industry. So first and foremost, I want to just start off by introducing our speakers tonight. So first, we have Vanessa Gabriel of Drop Delivery. We have Marvina Thomas of 420 Collectives. And we're going to talk about why it's collectives, because I remember you when you started out with 420 Skincare. So that's awesome. And then we've got Jayne Fiscus. She's with Curaleaf. And then we've got Leah Samura. Did I pronounce that correctly, Leah?
Yes, you did. It's Samura.
Excellent. And she is with Bedroom Cannabis. And ladies, I am so excited to hear from you this evening, because again, as you know, we're celebrating Women's History Month, and it's the power of her story, not his story. And we want to keep amplifying those voices, right? It's not only about the pioneers that have made the way for us, right? But it's now our responsibility as we're creating these inroads for that next wave that's coming up behind us. So I want to start with you, Vanessa. Can you share with us, prior to cannabis, what were you doing? Oh, unmute.
Sorry. Yeah, I got my start with entrepreneurship. I started a e-commerce website back in college from my dorm, actually with my co-founders, 2 of my co-founders today at Drop. And that kind of just, kick-started me on this entrepreneurial journey, and went on to just do a couple other projects in different industries, whether it was social streaming, marketplaces, fashion, etc. Even dabbled into just doing corporate stuff. But yeah, I always knew deep down I wanted to own my own business, and me and my team found our way into cannabis because we love technology, and we just saw the opportunity for technology and software to really change this industry. And so our first cannabis startup was called Greenlight, and it was the first order ahead app for local dispensaries. So you could find a local dispensary, place your order for pickup, skip the line, and earn loyalty points. And yeah, that got acquired back in 2018, and then we knew the future of cannabis consumption was going to be delivery back then, even pre-pandemic. So we started drop delivery, and we really wanted to bring technology to the delivery side of things and be able to be an all-in-one delivery management solution for cannabis retailers. So
that is incredible. We're going to have to talk more about that. The fact that, most college students were doing, I don't know, I want to say some other things, but not certainly launching businesses. But when you think about many of our business leaders today, many of those businesses started where? Right in college dorms. So I think you're off to a good start. Well, I want to transition over to Marvina Thomas. Marvina, scoot up a little bit. I want to see your beautiful face. There you are, hon. How are you?
Good. How are you, hon?
I am fine. So, Marvina, what were you doing before cannabis?
Actually, I had 3 group homes, which were nonprofits, where me and my husband formed, and we helped men and women get off drugs and alcohol and get them back into society, and also help them with job placements and housing. And right now, that's what we currently do right now. Still, some of my proceeds goes back to the homes to help them get their medical cards. But now that it's legal now, but now we're helping them purchase their medicine. So, which is beautiful. Now we have 9 group homes, which is amazing. Stressful, but it's a beautiful thing because this is something that I love to do. We also have 2 behavioral health clinics, which I'm an OTC. And in those words, outpatient clinics, where I help with behavioral health, which I just consider as a small hospital.
Wow. And you were a nurse as well, correct?
Yes, 30 years.
For how many years?
30 years.
Oh my goodness. Oh, we have to circle back to that because I can understand how that aligns with the industry.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we're gonna come back to you. But Jayne, I want to pivot to you because you actually work in the industry and you work for Curaleaf, which is our partner tonight, who's co-sponsoring with us. So can you tell us a little bit about what you were doing prior to Curaleaf?
Yes, I worked. I prior to cannabis, I was also a student. I'm relatively young, and I was able to find cannabis science pretty early on. I went to school in Texas, which is still a prohibition state, and so cannabis science as a whole it's the abyss, it's the unknown. So early on, it piqued my interest really hard. And so once I graduated, I knew this is where I wanted to go, and so I kind of went out there and I found work on a farm. And throughout my kind of meandering journey, I made my way up to Portland, Oregon, where I found Select Oil, which was the company, which is the brand you see behind me. And we were acquired by Curaleaf in February of 2020.
That is incredible. And as I started out tonight's panel saying Jayne was the one that actually said, hey, I used to go to Women Grow meetings in Dallas. And at the time, our market leader there was Drea. And so it's so interesting how life just comes full circle. So it's good to see you. Leah.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited. We're going to get back to these college dorm room ideas and pathways because I promise you that is not what I was thinking about in college. So you guys are giving me a new perspective here, and hopefully others that are watching who are in college will be motivated tonight. But I want to switch over to Leah. Leah, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Great. And so can you share with us what were you doing prior to the industry?
So for 20 plus years, I recently left my job, but for about 20 plus years, I worked as a technology trainer and workforce readiness trainer in various nonprofits here in Boston, mainly Roxbury. And I mean, basically, I just helped them gain I'm sorry, I'm just a little getting my groove here. Right?
No worries.
A moment. All right. But I basically just help underemployed and unemployed adults gain the necessary skills for better employment. Is what I that basically for 20 years. And through that, I was helping my husband make certain products in his cannabis store. And so there I started to, advocate for women in cannabis and do other things. I know we're going to talk about that later, so I'll just leave that alone.
No, but I appreciate that. So one thing, and I knew this, prior to us coming on tonight, but what I loved about this lineup is that you guys are in different parts of the country, right? And I think that's so important for people to understand that, there are so many people sitting on the sidelines that are probably watching right now saying, I want to get in, I want to get in. Those of you who know what double dutch is, like you kind of want to jump in the rope, right? Or if you're just jumping regular rope and people are turning and you want to figure out where to get in. But this is a great example of women who have gotten in from different parts of the country, right? So hopefully they are able to relate to your stories, but not only from a regional perspective, but also from the diversity of career and life prior to cannabis. And so I always start out conversations, what were you doing prior to? Because people must understand whether if you're a student or someone who's already working in an industry, whatever you're doing, it's going to help you here. And so before we get into the nuts and bolts of this, how important is representation, ladies? And Leah, I want to go back to you because I'm just going to start from from Massachusetts and work my way across the country. But how important, Leah, is representation to you in this industry?
So as I said, my background, I work in technology, a certified technology trainer. And even in that, even though I wasn't like nitty gritty in technology, even that was a pretty male dominated industry, even working in nonprofits, most of the CEOs are male. And, so it is important to see people like us representing things like technology, like who was it? Vanessa, right? So the same, we need to see more people like us doing things that are not really not for us. You know what I mean? And so
Where you
technology.
typically wouldn't see women in those forefront. Yep.
Exactly.
I agree. Well, Vanessa, I want to, Leah brought you in, so I want to pivot to you. How important is representation to you in this industry?
Yeah, definitely. I think, being fairly young and, a minority, my whole team are like minorities. So being able to be that representation for ourselves of what we would want for this industry, I think is super important. And I'll talk about this later. When I was forming my advisory board, I knew I wanted to go for women first. And what women in the industry were groundbreaking and successful and innovative, I thought could lend a helping hand. And that was one of my goals early on. And I'm so grateful to have amazing women behind me. And I hope that I can also be able to give back to the industry in that way as well, in any way I can, because these women are like, yeah, I'll talk to you. I'll take a phone call. And stuff as simple as that has been game changing for our business and, for my career. So I think it's amazing to have a group like this and events like this and just be able to empower other women supporting women, I think is just so important.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. But Jayne, because you're in-house, right? And so you're a career woman in the industry. And so I want to pose that question to you. Why is representation important to you, especially as you're working for one of the big cannabis companies in the industry?
I love this question. I think it's so great because it drives us to go back to what started us here, which is the plant itself. I work in the lab. I started in a grow, and one of the things you learn very quickly is the flower is female, and one male will ruin a whole grow room. You're done. And so from the ground up, like from the ground, the females reign supreme. And that philosophy is so empowering that we not only deserve the representation because women are strong, but we are the plant. We are representing ourselves in this. And so you have a really strong female dominance in the plant itself. And so we should represent that across our industry and use that as an empowerment for ourselves. The flower is female and the future is female.
Well, why do I feel like we just had a Beyonce moment? Like I feel like the song "Who Run the World, Girls." I mean, that how powerful is that, right? I mean, that we are women in the industry. This plant does represent women, right? And how it's
And all
medicine.
kinds of women, tall women, short women, big stinky women, smelly women, blue women, red women, all of the women, all of them. And cannabis is so great because there's a place for everyone. The only standard path into cannabis is a non-standard path, and there's a spot for everyone. We need all the women.
Amen.
And that's so important, right? Because inclusion matters, right? And that's why this question, I'm going to pose it to you, Marvina, of course, because each of you have said something all uniquely. And so, Marvina, why does representation matter to you?
And just like what she just said, women rule the world. Let the truth be told. Without us, there is nothing. Like she said, it starts with the plant, and now we're here. And it doesn't matter the age, the color. It doesn't matter. Whatever you decide you want to do it.
That's right.
And man, I can't wait till we get to all the other questions because I got so much to say.
I know. And so for those of you tuning in, like I said, we know Marvina because Marvina was one of our market leaders. But actually, I'm going to stay with you, Marvina. You've been you were a career woman prior to.
Yes.
You already told us about your group homes, which, kudos to you for not only starting out with 2 and now you're up to what, like 9 or 10? Like that is incredible, all that you're doing and how much it aligns with the industry. But I'm sure there've been valuable lessons that you've learned along the way,
Lord,
right? And so in starting a business, let's talk about some of the lessons that you've learned. And you know how much so if you've heard me speak before, I've talked about Marvina's story. I just have never mentioned her name. But if you've heard me talk about the woman that showed up with a single bar of soap and now has an incredible business, this is the woman I'm talking about. This is her. So Marvina, what lessons have you learned being in this industry?
Ooh, sickest. Well, first off, cash flow. That was a big thing for me. Labor, because making my product, it was just all me by myself. Understanding the state laws, the local laws. And the number one thing was education. I got into this industry. I had no clue what CBD was. I wasn't a partaker. I didn't smoke. I didn't do none of that. But I had to learn. And if I wanted to have a company and be successful, then I knew I needed to go get that education. And that's exactly what I did. And I've learned so much. And like I even tell my employees now, it's like a roller coaster. And we're still on that ride. You just got to hold on. Like that little commercial, that little pig used to say, wee! Hold on. You hold on and you keep riding. And those are the lessons. Yeah. Whew. But
Thank you. So Leah, I want to pivot to you because the one thing you said earlier is that while you had your full-time job, you were also helping your husband. So I'm sure there's some lessons that you've learned as you transitioned into this industry and have been in this space.
Yes. So one is learning to work with my husband, right? That's one. We're both in business. So, that took, I don't know. I mean, when I left when he convinced me to leave my job, I've been doing this for 20 plus years. I cried for 2 weeks. I didn't really know what I was getting into. I would just be standing in the grocery line crying like for no reason. But I got over it. Yeah, it was very scary, extremely, because I didn't know. I was so used to helping other people and trying to help other people move forward that that's what I wanted to do, which is what I can't do now. I'm doing the same thing in this industry, But some of the things that I learned is working with the different municipalities, here in Boston. It's just a very difficult place to try to open up retail stores and get your license. One thing that you need is this thing called the host community agreement. This is where the town says, yes, hey, you can do business here. You can run your cannabis store here. And so you have to go through those whole process. There's the whole politics behind it. You have to go deal with the city council. Sometimes you deal with mayors, all these things. And I'm talking about getting a license, not necessarily my product, you know, in this
Right,
case.
right,
We're
right.
talking more about that. That's another thing. But I think one of the biggest things that I learned though is really trying to work with my husband, being a team member with my husband, and trying to find that, find our boundaries in our different spaces, and still work together and be successful. We've been together for 25 years and married for 17, you know, and so
Wow.
I we've come a very long way, let me tell you. But that's why we're
Listen,
Bedroom Cannabis. But we're talking about Bedroom Cannabis too.
right. Well, no, but that's so interesting, right? Because he's your partner in marriage, and now he's your business partner, and that's another partner. I mean, there really isn't a separation. And I've got a question that I'm going to hold on because I really want you to answer that first. But I want to pivot over to Vanessa because you started in a college dorm room. You've got partners.
Yeah.
Tell me, like, you know, what lessons have you learned thus far? Because you've already had a business prior to this one.
Yeah, no, there's so many lessons, but I think kind of the top ones I think are important to share. One, every no gets you to the right yes. You know, the yes that really matters. Like I went for traditional capital for the past 10 years for so many different projects, businesses. Even after we sold Greenlight and we had like a successful acquisition, and to try and go for traditional capital with Drop, like just didn't know what happened. And it was like, I have success, I have a great team, like what is it? But that led us to crowdfunding, and it was the right choice. But if I would have gave up, then, you know, I wouldn't be in this position. And I got a lot of no's, and I probably will hear a lot of no's, but I think it's just getting us to the right yes, the one that really, really matters at the end of the day. And two, I think not letting like age, experience, and those things kind of get in the way. And I've always been the type of person to let like my work speak for itself, you know, and if others want to judge me on, you know, those other things like my age and experience, then so be it. But at the end of the day, I think my work should speak for itself, and the things that I build speak for itself. Because I think if I could have maybe talked myself out of it, like, oh, I don't know anything. Like, I didn't know anything about having an e-commerce business when I was 18 and starting that. And I literally just like learned everything along the way. I like used YouTube and Google, like everything is like self-taught basically. So I think that the resources are unlimited, and don't get so in your head about what you can't do, you know, and don't let fear stop you and like failure stop you. Like failure is the best teacher and the biggest teacher. And it should be looked at it that way, because if you fail one time and you stop, then you're like giving up on yourself, and you're not giving yourself like, you know, the best chance. So that's what
I love that answer. I love that answer. Right. Just keep going. And again, I think oftentimes what prohibits people from moving forward is the fear of not knowing, right? What if I don't know enough? But each of you are sharing the lessons you're learning and the mistakes that you're making. Maybe, I mean, it's expected, right? And so, but from those mistakes and lessons, you just keep pushing forward. So I want to actually, you know, turn to you, Jayne. You know, you were on a farm, right, prior to coming to Cresco, which I'm sorry, Curaleaf, but you know, with Select right behind you, which I love. What lessons have you learned, right? Because you definitely went from one experience to another.
Yeah, it's been a fun path. It's all been male dominated, which has been a bigger lesson teacher in all of this than I could ever hoped for. That the biggest things I've learned for myself are you are your own best advocate. There is no one who knows your strengths and what you can do better than you. And if you know you can do something, go out and do it. Do not let someone tell you because you're young or pretty or inexperienced or whatever it is that you cannot accomplish what you want to do. So put on your beanie and grab your scissors and time to trim some flour. And from there, you just continue to grow in your voice that you do know what you're doing. And then there's the realization comes that in cannabis, none of us know what we're doing. It's kind of a little bit of a secret that we're all figuring it out. We're writing our own history. And so pivot is our big, be always willing. You're talking about holding the wheel and hold on for your ride. It's ours is pivot. You got to always be willing to take what's thrown at you and then go a different direction if the legislation changes or there's a product problem or whatever happens, that it's always pivot. So be flexible and advocate for yourself.
So then I want to stay with you, Jayne. Where do you go to for support? Because I feel like we all need that soundboard, right? Or that it's not necessarily a mentor, but even that mentorship, right? Where do you go to for that?
I am very lucky to have a really great support system around me that is a lot of women. I'm very lucky to have a mentor who is actually the one who hired me into Select, that I still speak with almost every day, who has really led the way for me and helped me and guided me through this. So whenever I have scientific questions or process flow questions, or I'm just frustrated, I have a great mentor that I go to. And then within Curaleaf, we're this really large national organization. And because of that, we have some great departments and structure and people in all of these places that I'm able to call and reach out for. So we have some really great interdepartment collaboration, and a lot of them are women led. And I was doing a training recently where someone asked if we were women owned and operated, because the only people there were women from Curaleaf. And while we're not necessarily women owned, we are sort of women operated. And so there's these great, strong women that have found their way into where we are, like these women here, that once we find each other, we are each other's support system.
And that's beautiful, because I think what's interesting is that oftentimes when, as business owners, you actually have to search for it. But for women who have careers in this industry and who are in a position like yourself, that you are surrounded by incredible women. Because I was actually down in Florida recently and visited one of the Curaleaf dispensaries there. And when we arrived, oh my gosh. And I was so surprised that it was only women when we arrived. And I was like, yes, this is what we're talking about. But again, I mean, we did meet some of the guys, so I don't want to come across as though
there's a few of them there. We like them too.
Right. But it was great to see that, right? And these same women were talking about how they were managing, but not only just managing, but training other women who were coming in. And so I think that that's incredible. But Marvina, I want to pivot to you. Where did you go to, and where were you going to for support and that soundboard that we all look for in this industry?
The only person I do go is two people. One that I go to is, Parisa. Me and her talk about 20 times a day. But the ultimate person who I go to is my husband. Because sometimes I just want to cry. I want to scream. I want to throw. I just want to do something. And he's the one that will say, Marvina, it's going to be all right. And it's like, then, I'm okay. But he's the only one that I can trust and say, okay, what do I need to do? And, he'll just get in my butt and say, you know what to do. Stop asking. Just do it. So, yeah, my hubby.
Well, that's good to hear, because I'm saving Leah for last, because I can't wait to hear that answer. Vanessa, I want to hop over to you, because you do have your co-founders, as you've mentioned. But outside of your co-founders, or do you go to your co-founders for that support?
We're like a family. I fortunately work with my sister, which is really great. And our dad is like our number one mentor as well. So, and my stepmom's an entrepreneur too. So everyone in my family has like business in their blood. And so it's really nice to be able to have that understanding with each other of what we're going through and the struggles of being an entrepreneur. But outside of that, I was really grateful to be able to connect with my advisors, Jessica Billingsley from Akerna, Jordan, and Sala Rosada, to just be that extra sounding board in the industry as far as like cannabis experience, and to be able to go to them for anything has been amazing like the past couple of months. So
that is awesome. Leah, I got to come to you, because you just said, where do you go to, girl? Where do you go to for this sounding board? You said you had to adjust to being a partner to your already 25-year partner. So do you go back to the same person, or do you go to someone else? Oh, you're muted.
Thank you. Sometimes it depends because he does have a big background in cannabis. You know, he's a history major and he's done a lot of homework in cannabis. So sometimes I do need him, and I do need to ask him for those type of things. I do need his support in those ways.
Mm-hmm.
But also, you know, we have a great team that we work with, and so we lean on them for support. I have great girlfriends that I lean on for support. And you know, we have this here in Massachusetts. The community is very small, especially for Black people, and so we lean on each other too, and give each other resources that way too. Here, we try to support each other, especially the Black community here in Massachusetts. So I think those, yeah. So between my husband, my network, my team, my girlfriend, and my grandmother, I gotta give my grandmother a shout out. And my grandmother,
I love it.
Yes.
That is wonderful. Well, I want to switch the conversation a little bit because we talked about our personal, right, perspectives, but I want to switch now to your businesses and your careers. And so one of the questions that I have for you all is, you know, how did you get started in this space? Now, Vanessa, we already talked about what you've started already and what you've transitioned to. But for you, I actually want to talk about your role. What is it that you specifically do within your role within drop delivery?
Yeah. So I think being even to just like all the front facing stuff, I'm the most comfortable and I love talking about the business, but even just the day-to-day things of making sure we know what vision we have as a company and that we're executing on that vision every day and, you know, making steps and progress towards that. So having a hand, we're a pretty small team of only 5-6 people. But yeah, I meet with everyone all the time and making sure, you know, each departments are running pretty smoothly. And then I get to do amazing stuff like this to be able to connect with all of you. So.
And Marvina.
Yes, ma'am.
I talk about that one bar. I want to hear about, share your story.
Wow. So, you know, the reason why I even started with that one bar of soap is because of the group homes that I had. I got tired of buying everything because the state wasn't paying for nothing. Everything was coming out of me and my husband's pocket. So I took myself to school to learn how to make soap, creams, bath bombs, you name it. And I came home and started making it for my clients. And then I had a young lady who came to my group home who had her left side of her face burnt from the meth pipe. And she had a bacterial infection. And so the first 2 layers of her skin, which is the dermis and the epidermis, was infected. And she said she's been using the cream for a while, but it wasn't helping. So I made this cream, which is on the market now, which is 1,000 milligrams that I gave her, some body butter. And all of a sudden, within a few weeks, the color, the pink was coming back. And I was just like, oh my God. So then I started giving it to all my family and friends. And all of a sudden they start calling back for more. So that's when I decided to make more product. But in learning how to get into this industry is when I searched cannabis, because I didn't know anything about cannabis, CBD, or what was CBD. I didn't know none of that. So I went to a meeting in Scottsdale. And from there, I went to Colorado, and that's when I met Miss Gia. And I had my bar soap, and I was like, you know what? I don't know nothing about Colorado, but I'm going, and I'm going to find how to get into this industry. And that's what I did.
Wow. And so you did it without prior I mean, you had some education in terms of you learned how to make body butters but you didn't have the cannabis experience prior to, as Jayne said, like, we're all figuring it out, right? It's like the biggest secret in the room that's not a secret is like, you will hear that time and time again. That's incredible.
Yes.
You know, so actually, Jayne, I want to pivot to you for this one, right? Because this is a little bit different. You already told us that you worked on a farm, which I think is awesome, right? Because you talk about getting the hands-on experience, but now you transition in-house, right? What has that been like?
So I started in a grow for years back, and I went to school for chemistry, biochemistry specifically. So how these different molecules around us in our world affect us in our specific body systems. And I knew I really wanted to work in cannabis. And so I started in a grow and then realized that I could actually combine my chemistry experience and love of science with the love of this plant. And that was in an extraction and a refinement formulation space. So I've moved in-house, but I am the lab manager. So I oversee all cannabis extraction, refinement, formulation, and processing for the products that come out of California specifically. Because we are controlled by state regulations, we do have specific labs in every single state. So the product that you see behind me that I touch only comes out of
I want to talk about that. So I'm going to have a follow-up question for you about that. If you don't mind, my question to you is, can you talk to us about a product that's interesting? So
yes,
staying with you because I want to know about Select, because how could I not ask you if it's right behind you?
Yes. So it was really cool actually prepping for this. I got to reflect on the things that me and my team have been able to accomplish in a really short amount of time. And in the last 18 months, we've been able to launch 5 new product lines for Select and Curaleaf, with another one coming out the door here shortly. What you see behind me was actually a passion project of mine and my team's called Elite Live, which is a live resin cartridge that we worked on for a really long time. And our formula was able to set a standard and precedent for what this product should be as it kind of grows across the nation, and gives us this really high quality cartridge that is extremely safe. Safety around consumption is a huge thing for me. I am a control freak when it comes to safety of product and cleanliness. I reject about 40% of the biomass that comes my way because it is not even close to being ready to extract. So I get to oversee all of the product and the actual manufacturing of what people buy in stores. And we produce a lot of product. We crank out a lot of material. I have a pretty big team. Not really. It's actually not big at all. We're very small. We work very hard.
But you're big at heart. We
have big heart. We have big passion. But the product that I'm the most proud of actually kind of ties into Marvina's story is our drops. It is an MCT oil-based tincture, which is a coconut oil that's room temperature made with cannabis oil. And it is the one, I love this product so much because it's topical. You can rub it and you can eat it. So you get localized and general absorption. And I get the most results from this. I give this to my dad who's 65 and needs knee stuff. I give this to my neighbor who has back problems. I take this on my way home from work to help my neck relax. It's such an amazing product that you get to see the magic of the plant.
What's interesting that you said, and you've mentioned this a few times, the fact that you were a chemistry major in college, and anyone that's watching or listening, whether if it's you or one of your family members, imagine if we were told in college that the work or the major that you're currently in could be applied in this industry. You think about that, right? Because oftentimes, people don't put the two together. And so, hearing you say, your responsibilities to me, I hope that that's speaking to that next generation that's in school, that's in undergrad or in graduate school right now, that perhaps is considering, starting a career in the cannabis industry. So I'm so glad you shared your story. But Leah, I want to jump over to you because, you said that your husband's been in this space for some time and you guys have some products. And, I want, can you share some interesting things that you all are doing there in Massachusetts?
Yes. So my husband and I created a product called Purient Bedroom Cannabis. Purient meaning like you really want it, really makes you horny, like it's supposed to be. Not supposed
to. It's an intimacy product.
It is one of the best intimacy products. It's like the secret to mind-blowing sex. And the reason why I say that is because of the way that Purient is applied. Okay, so it wasn't just made to become a sex lube. It was made a sex lube, a sex lubricant, a personal lubricant. Let me call it that. I'm gonna get sex out of it. So our personal lubricant, Purient, and it was designed first to help women have a better time, in the bedroom, but also with other added benefits. I suffer from a bad menstrual cycle. I suffer from fibroids. I know many women who suffer from endometriosis, women who suffer from certain cancer issues, postmenopause things, all these things that, that prevent us from doing certain things we're not so comfortable. You know what I mean? And so Purient was created as a way to help women be more comfortable with themselves. So the way that it is meant to be applied internally. So vaginally or rectally, depending on who you are and what you like. I don't discriminate. And it is meant to, and you apply it 30 to 60 minutes before intimacy.
Right.
Or, 30 to 60 minutes to help you relieve pain. So we have two products. We have Purient and we have Purient Plus. Purient Plus is CBD 2-to-1, and Purient is straight up THC. It's like 300 milligrams of THC. It is made with, just like Jayne would say, MCT oil and coconut oil. There's nothing else. It's pH balance. There are no sticky things to harm us ladies. And it is a product made just so that we can have a better vaginal life. Pretty much. That's really it.
A healthy vaginal experience. And I want to touch on that a little bit more, is that, the whole point of this is to amplify our voices. And as women, if we cannot speak to or have a hand in or some kind of contribution to the products that are applied to our bodies, I mean, we already started out the conversation saying that the plant is female, but we're all mature enough to understand that intimacy products are very much a part of our lives every day. Like, we've got to apply different types of products, right? But you've got women who are experiencing serious pain, each month, and to be able to have a product that sounds like it's very much plant-based, very much organic, and that is not harmful to our bodies, I think is so critical. And so I thank you and your husband for working on products like that, because when you think about the months that we spend on breast cancer awareness, on the various medical challenges that we as women experience, we have to look at intimacy products not just as a natural thing or something that's just for a fun evening with your partner, but this is actually taking accountability and responsibility with our well-being. So I want to thank you for that, and I wish I lived in Massachusetts, because I know I cannot have that here in New York City. But
maybe soon. Right? When New York needs to get their act together, but maybe
exactly. We're all grown-ups here. But Vanessa, I want to pivot to you now, right? Because you have a technology platform, and we know that things are always ever changing in the space of technology. So I'd love to learn a little bit more about the products that you all are working on.
Yeah, so with Drop, like we said, when we really set out to canvas the landscape of the market of, if I'm a delivery business owner, what softwares do I need to use and what's available to me? And it was so fragmented. I could use anywhere from 4 to 6 different software or platforms just to run the day-to-day. And so just thinking about how we can kind of revolutionize a business's software platform and have them just use one was really our big goal and idea. And no one has ever done that, because it's pretty crazy. Like, who wants to build basically like 5 businesses in one? Because there's businesses that exist serving different things, like obviously POS and inventory, logistics, SMS texting, and so forth. And we really wanted to build an all-in-one solution, so you could just use us and nothing else. And not only is that cost effective for you as a business owner, but 2, your data is connected throughout all these platforms. I think as cannabis business owners and entrepreneurs, there's a lack of connection across these platforms. So if I was using a multitude of different platforms, I'm not using my customers' purchase data to do marketing campaigns. I'm just like mass blasting all my customers, and those aren't smart business decisions that are gonna, increase my revenue. So for us, it's really about empowering this new generation of cannabis entrepreneurs. As new states come on and delivery, especially with the pandemic, and putting delivery on the forefront in the map, like. Now, even dispensaries and everything, they had to be like, oh my gosh, I need to offer delivery to my customers if they didn't before. So I think that's what's really exciting. And it was kind of like right place, right time, with everything that's happened in the past year. But it's been really exciting to know that, we're building a technology platform for the future. We're not even scratching the surface of really what delivery is going to be, especially for cannabis. And I think really just modernizing that experience, like it should be on par with the Amazon, the Uber Eats, everything else we get through our phone. So why can't I just order my cannabis as safely and conveniently and reliably, just like all the other companies and industries? So I think that's what's super exciting. We've made so much progress in cannabis, but I feel like the technology, it's like the wild, wild west, and that we can hopefully can, be at the forefront of that and really, bring some technology to help these business owners.
Vanessa, I cannot wait until you are, and you will be like that, as you said, that Amazon, that whatever have you of cannabis. I mean, why not? Like, no one's here to tell us no, right? You've made the decision. Marvina said that earlier, like, just do it. I've heard of Marvina in the past say, just do the damn thing, girl. Just do the damn thing.
Yeah.
And I love that, right? Because we really can empower ourselves. Now, Marvina, we didn't get to talk about your products. So reason why I wanted to wait until make you the last person is because I started out saying I learned you're now 420 collectives, which I didn't realize. So I mean, you talk about expanding your business. Tell us more about your products, because you started out with 420 skincare and now you've got the Medibles. So okay, for expansion.
Yes, ma'am. Like she said, yeah, I started with 1 bar of soap, and then I ended up having my online CBD line, which is 420 skincare. And then I opened up our kitchen, which is 420 Medibles. And now we're in the process of getting our second kitchen. This is the first time even saying about it right now, but now
wait, breaking news. Okay, I love it.
Been so busy, especially since recreational has hit. We are so busy. So yeah, we definitely had to get another kitchen. So that's what we're working on right now. And also, as far as on the OT side, which is my clinic, we're working on opening another clinic up in Yuma, Arizona, and 5 homes up there, because it's needed really, really bad. So my main focus, and the reason why I wanted to do that, is because I wanted to create more jobs for our clients. Because once my clients graduates from my program, I hire with them. I hire them.
Do you know what I love? You call them your clients. And I just realized that. That's beautiful.
They're my family. I don't treat them like they're patients. I don't treat them as a client, but I treat them like family. I give them a hug. I get in their ass. I'll tell them in a minute. I treat them like they're my kids. Let's put it that way. I'm like big mama, even though I'm little, but I'm big mama. I get in that butt, because my thing is, if I'm giving 110% to help you get to that next level in life, then you need to meet me. Yeah, I'm not going to go more than what you're not giving. That's what I'm not going to do. But all my clients, like right now, we have 3 graduations that are coming in, which we're doing a full graduation with cap and gown and everything. So I'm all excited, and they get to bring their families in, and they are already going to school as we speak, so they can get their GEDs, and then we'll be able to hire them on for like peer supports. And I got 2 of my employees right now are going back to school to get their bachelor's. And so I'm excited. Like I said, I'm big mama over here. My main goal is to create jobs. That's why I'm considering myself as a enterprise, because I have so many different companies that I own. So God has been good. Yeah. I'm
proud of you. That's beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's part of what I feel like is that contribution, right, to the industry. And I think each of you are doing that in your respective ways. How many of you worked from home during COVID? Okay, right. That's even, right? I'll put my hand that I did. So I would imagine, Marvina and Jayne, that you guys were going in, right? Because cannabis was deemed an essential business, and so still operating. So I'm actually going to go to you, Jayne, because you were making product, right? You're testing and making products there. One of the questions I have is, what was that like, and what kept you motivated during that time? Because we've never been through anything like that. Yeah. And so I would imagine, I feel like in the industry, from that women grow community, a lot of women said this was really tough on me. So what kept you going during this time?
My team and the people we get to affect. Select and Curaleaf have a big presence, and we feel incredibly grateful for that we get to use that platform to continue to make great products and get to touch those people who we get amazing messages from and support from. And, you know, the pandemic hit, the shelter in place orders hit, they started to come in right in March of last year, about this time, which was leading into 420. And so we were already in a large production push, like 12-hour days, all hands on deck. I'm, you know, smashing my weed and extracting right and left. And we got our distillation units running 24/7. And then the shelter in place order hit and everyone went home except for us. And we kept going. And we never stopped that push because 420 happened, and then people kept buying at the scale of a 420 day, and it never slowed down. And so all of the other departments worked from home, and our facility was coming in every single day, and still to this day we're here 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. And it's been an interesting time management lesson because the other departments and the other companies, so many are working from home. There's been so many meetings. There's been so many meetings lately, and it's been a good lesson in time prioritization and management to make time for each other, even amongst a very busy, chaotic world. And so we find the balance between the work from homers and the in-office people that, you know, I get help from the work from home guys when I need some more paperwork stuff, and they let me go work in the lab when I've got to make product. Like, we have a new product coming out next week that I literally had my computer on a rolly chair and was making the product and had my headset on and was talking as I was making this product. And it's been hard, but my team and the people in our company have been able to really push each other and support each other.
You brought up the point team, but I'm going to bring that back around. But I want to bounce back to Marvina, because again, between you and Marvina, you were considered frontline workers at this time, right? And so, Marvina, how was that for you during this time?
Well, you know, medical doesn't shut down. So when the pandemic hit, I had to have like an emergency meeting with all my employees and have the clients stay home. And I had all my employees going to the homes and teaching class. My teachers that's on staff, I had them doing telehealth, so they still got to keep their appointments. So we just kind of changed everything just to make sure all our I's are dotted and T's are crossed as far as on the medical side, not as far as with the edible line, and then also with the skincare. I'll talk about the skincare first. My orders jumped triple. So
it didn't stop. It just kept going.
And going and going. And as soon as you see you got another order, you're just like, oh God. You know, I mean, it's a good feeling to have. It's just like, oh my God, another one.
There were a lot of long days, I would imagine, right?
I'm trying to check and see if you got any orders. Now with the COVID hit, my sales went triple. And then with the kitchen, oh my God, we went from just working from 8 to 5. Now we're damn near 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So
that's incredible.
Group of staff that's coming in to work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So now it's just like, oh my God, but it's nonstop. And it ain't just little small orders, they're huge orders, which is amazing, you know, for us. And it's, you know, I tell people, especially the ones who are buying on the skincare, is that proceeds goes back to the homes. So you are helping us. Help me help them. Help you help them. So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
that is amazing. Well, I actually want to ask Leah, how has it been working from home and for you in terms of, you know, how have you kept yourself motivated during that time or during this time?
So during before the pandemic, my husband and I, we would go out and we would provide these staff trainings to stores in Massachusetts, just to kind of help the bud tenders be a little bit more comfortable with selling our product. You know, a lot of people have a problem selling a personal lubricant, and I get it. And so we go and we try to make it a little more comfortable for them to speak about the product. And we also used to provide pop-ups, you know, and so to go in and to actually, you know, get our product out there. We can't do that anymore. So that kind of put like a little damper on, you know, us getting out there and actually educating people about bedroom cannabis. But, you know, we have other projects that we are working on. You know, yesterday I received my host community agreement for Cambridge. I'm working on opening up my own retail store. I have a training program that I am also running in Boston, which is called Purient Therapeutics or City Farm. And so I'm pretty busy. So outside of just this project, I have a training program that I'm trying to run, a cannabis training program, and also my own retail store. That is also women focused. So it's going to be a women focused cannabis store called Yamba Boutique. Yamba meaning it's an African word for weed. And yeah, so I'm pretty busy. So I mean, I'm zooming all day. You know,
right? Zooming, and that's what I hear all the time. So, Vanessa, I would imagine, were you as you and your co-founders, were you all working together in the same space? And you said you were working from home. Did that change for you as well?
Yeah, for the first, we have an office in Venice, and that's where I'm here now. And prior to the pandemic, we would always come and work at the office together, and bounce ideas off each other and just be in the same room and like share that team energy. And then, yeah, for the first couple of months of the pandemic, you know, obviously we wanted to be safe, so we started working from home. And yeah, definitely an adjustment, a lot more meetings. Like Jayne said, like a lot of meetings to try and have transparency just across team members. But yeah, we kind of transitioned like half and half now, which has been nice just to be around the team and have that, you know, energy and morale up instead of being so isolated. But I actually got a dog during quarantine, and he like forces me to go outside and like breathe fresh air every so often. Could not, especially in technology, just sit behind a computer all day and work. So that's been like really nice as far as just a break in my day, making me get some sun on my face. So
what Leah was just saying, zooming all day, right? And so finding that, because I think that's also important, you know, as we're amplifying our voices in the work that we do, we also recognize that it's important that we do some things for ourselves, which again, I wish I was in Massachusetts to like explore what Leah's product is about.
Especially during the lockdown, right? It would have been great during the lockdown, I'm telling you. Yes.
But no, but in all seriousness, it is so important, right? Because we are hardworking, and listening to what each of you are doing, which is incredible. I can only imagine the amount of time, days, and hours that you all have put into this. I know some questions have come in, and I cannot believe how fast this time is going. So just for you guys tuning in, we were going to speak until about 8, and then I was going to take a couple of questions, then we got to wrap up because these ladies got to get back to doing their thing. I mean, you see Jayne with products behind her. She's like, I'm still in the office. I'm still working. But you're in
Can you guys hear the people moving boxes around outside the doors? I was like, don't do that. Don't do that. Not right now.
Listen, product has to be made, right? There's no stopping.
Do it. Marvina knows.
Right. No stopping in cannabis. So let me see. There was a question earlier, and so I want to just pause here. Well, you know what? I think it's a fine time to ask the two product makers, as well as I'm going to touch on you, Jayne, in terms of where people can get Curaleaf's products, because we know that you have locations across the country. But Leah, where are you located, or where can people find your products? And then Marvina, we're going to ask you the same thing.
So I'm located in Boston, Mass. Am I muted? No, okay. I'm located in Boston, Mass, Massachusetts. Born and raised. I'm sure y'all can hear my Boston accent. You know, it comes out. I was really raised in Dorchester. So if anybody from Boston is watching, they know what that means. Let's see. So we are, I think we're in about, not think, I think, well, I'm going to say think. I think we're in about 35 stores in Massachusetts. We are actually in some Curaleaf stores, Oxford, Hanover, and Provincetown in Massachusetts. So we are in a big, I don't know what, 30% of the stores in Massachusetts that are currently open. And the best way to find out about our product is to go to bedroomcannabis.com or on any social media platform. What is it? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We are at Bedroom Cannabis. If you want to email us, we're bedroomcannabis@gmail.com. And if you are interested in Yamba Boutique, you can go to yambaboutique.com to sign up for more updates about that. And I think that's it. Silvertherapeutics.com for my City Farm training program.
I love it. Marvina, where can people find your products? Because you're based in Arizona.
Yes, ma'am. Well, as far as the online, you can reach me on 420 Skincare. If you need to get a hold of me, Marvina at 420-skincare.com or Marvina at trinitycareservices.com. Or you can even download my app. I do have an app with skincare. So you can download, you can even order from the app, and we ship out same day or next day. And as far as the kitchen, we're in 35 dispensaries, and we just got the contract for Curaleaf. So thank you. So I'm just waiting to get the product.
I'm so excited for that. I really am.
So excited too. So yeah, we're in 35 different locations. You can go on my website, 420 Skincare, and click on the Medibles, and it will show you a list of all the dispensaries that we're currently in right now.
That is fantastic. And so, Jayne, where can they find these products that you've been working on?
They can find Curaleaf products in 23 states across the nation officially. Select is in 19, and we've got 11 more states with some other things on the way. Specifically for product that I make and that my team touches, California only because we can't yet ship across state lines. But it's pretty much everywhere. You can find us.
That is beautiful.
Really
and Vanessa,
cool.
I'm sorry, Jayne, what did you say? I'm sorry.
You're good.
Okay. There was a little bit of a delay, so my apologies. Vanessa, your platform, is that only available in California right now?
No. If anyone has a license or in the process of getting a license that pertains to delivery, you can check us out at dropdelivery.com, and we'd love to demo you the product, get your thoughts on it. So yeah.
I love it. So there was another question, and for those who are tuning in, I also want you to know that on Monday, we will have an announcement about what Curaleaf's new program is about. But I feel like during this conversation, you've kind of heard it, that there are some opportunities for women within Curaleaf in terms of business ownership and their products. And so if you've heard from Leah and you've heard from Marvina, I mean, hey, just saying, tune in on Monday, 12 noon for C-Suite Conversations. Just letting you know that now. I'll be sure to repeat that again. I do have another question. Well, someone
I can
asked
talk about that a little bit, though, just for what it's worth.
Before we wrap, we will, because we have to listen. This is the setup for things that are happening. We've got some amazing things that are happening with Curaleaf, and I'm super excited about this partnership. And Jayne, what you did is you really set it up for us to really talk about why this partnership has been so awesome, because everyone we've worked with at Curaleaf has been women. We worked with, the conversation started with women. We, the team that's been working with us to bring tonight together, as well as a few other events that we have happening next week. And then the two guests that we have on C-Suite Conversation, which is where people will typically see me on. It's all been women. You would think it's a woman and led.
You really would.
And you know what? Shout out to Curaleaf on that, right? For letting and amplifying those voices, but not just amplifying the voices, it's those roles that the women play within companies. And so, oftentimes people come into the industry and they think that it's just about starting your own business, but we have businesses we need people to help run. Marvina mentioned Parisa. Parisa is also a former market leader of ours, who's now Marvina's president of her company. I mean, talk about, women on women here that are just helping and lifting each other as we grow. So people asked where are the speakers from, and so we know that Leah's from Boston, and then, or located in Massachusetts, I should say, sorry. Marvina in Arizona. Jayne, you're in Sacramento, correct?
Correct.
And then Vanessa's in Venice. So I don't know, hopefully that answered the question. It was another question here. Do any of the panelists have any any growing experience? And if not, do you invest in growers or farms? So Jayne, you did have that growing experience, as you mentioned earlier. Do you mind just answering the question just for the person in case they may have missed that earlier?
Yeah, I have grow experience. When I started it as a grow. I found an opportunity through a friend of a friend who needed some help managing their plants literally out back in the Prop 215 days of California. And I hopped on. I had no idea really what I was doing and learned a lot in process and through my own research, and did that for a little bit and managing that grow, and then moved into the extraction side from there. So I still have a lot of hands-on experience with our grows. I talk a lot to our vendors. I actually had a farmer call me about a minute ago with something. So I still get to work really closely with the growers and the plants, which is really special. And Curaleaf does work very closely with a lot of great women-owned partners, and we are specifically trying to find and highlight those women-owned grow voices. And I will say, from a grow side, they're hard to find. If you are a woman and you grow weed, please reach out to me so we can get your voice out there, because there's not a whole lot of women in the field.
Jayne, do you mind doing me a favor? Do you see where your name appears at the bottom?
Yes.
Do you mind just dropping in the handle or the information that someone who's tuning in could follow? We'll certainly share the handles, but anyone that's viewing in now, perhaps there's an opportunity. Marvina, there's a question for you in terms of where did you get the education that you mentioned earlier in terms of learning more about the industry?
I went to it's called Green Farm Education, and it's online, and it's like I think it was like a 6-month course, but you could finish, it's at your own pace pretty much. But I was just so excited. I got it done in 2 weeks.
Wait, is it Green Flower Media, or was it Green Flower Media? Okay, that's what I thought. So we actually, Women Grow also has a partnership with Green Flower Media. So if you go to the Women Grow Instagram page and you go to the Linktree drop, just look for hashtag adult homeschooling. Why? Because you're home and you need some schooling. You want to get.
If you can go at your own pace,
Yep.
You'd be so stuck like I was, and I was just soaking it in. And another way of learning too is opening your mouth. Like I always say, a closed mouth don't a closed mouth don't get fed. You got to get your name out there. You got to get you out there. That is what I'm sticking to it.
And that's what Vanessa said earlier in terms of talking to a lot of people, asking questions. It sounded like that's what Leah learned through her. You learned through your husband, though, Leah. Is that correct?
Yes, and also we were part of the first accelerator program in the, I guess, across in the nation, Sarah Accelerator. So we actually went through a program like that, and that's how we were able to get our products on the shelves here in Massachusetts without actually having a product manufacturing license.
Wow. So I don't know who needed to hear this tonight, but if you listen to Vanessa, to Jayne, to Marvina, or to Leah, opening your mouth, not being afraid to speak, reaching out to people. People are very much willing to talk to you. So I think that that's so important. And then, education, we talked about that, often. Again, if you are looking for some online courses, we do have a partnership with Green Flower Media. Actually, I think we offer like a 10% discount. So if you're looking for a little more of an incentive, you can certainly do that. We'll make sure to repost that as well. But before we close out, because I cannot believe how fast this conversation went, I host. Okay, so someone just. Okay. Thank you. You also host Cannabis Science Education Series. I love that, Jayne.
I just did one last night, actually. It was on terpenes, so I get to talk about random science cannabis things and get to go really deep into the technical side.
I love that, and it should. Should they follow you on Twitch?
Yeah, at Twitch. Let me send the handle here. It is twitch.com/.
Live. It's just like, there's no like rehearsal. It's like, oh, share your information. That's so important. Someone is looking for, I'm sure, education on terpenes, right? They want to know how, and it lives on Twitch for a while, I think, right?
Yes, they're recorded, and you should be able to find them later. I'm not super tech savvy. That's why we need Vanessa. So someone comes in and records it, and I just talk about the plant itself and the weed, and then it appears on the internet. And that's the beauty of women. And it's a woman who films me and plays music and records it too.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, last thing, what advice, and I know we've said it over and over, but I want you guys to give some definitive advice for someone who is either sitting on the sidelines. As we said earlier, if you're sitting on the sideline, kind of jump in like you're about to jump into a jump rope, or someone who may be stuck, right? Oftentimes in this industry, there are times when we do feel a little bit defeated, and we need something, right? That little bit of a push. What kind of advice do you have for our viewers tonight that are watching, the women who are saying, listen, I need that little gem, that's something that's gonna amplify them to get up and keep going? Vanessa, I want to start with you, because what I like, not only do you have your co-founders, but you're also working with your sister.
Yeah.
Right. So what kind of advice would you give the sister sitting on the sidelines?
Yes. Oh man. Like, honestly, for her, she was going to go on this like traditional path, and I'm just pulling from personal experience because I think she has a great story to tell as well, and hopefully she'll get to share it one day. She likes to be behind the scenes, but she was going to go to fashion school. We were living in New York, and she's like, you know what, I'm going to get into design. And she just kind of self-taught herself how to do app design. And she was just like, I'm not going to go to fashion school. Like, these are the opportunities right now. And she just went for it. She was 17 and she just like went for it. And now we're here working together and have many projects and businesses under our belt. So, I think it goes back to Jayne, how she said, don't be afraid to pivot. If you feel you're being tugged or this intuition to maybe go a different path than what you had initially thought for yourself. And me too, I actually left school to pursue businesses because I was taking entrepreneurship classes, and I was like, I'm learning in textbooks what I'm living in real life, and it's not matching up. And how can I be taking a class on entrepreneurship when I'm living in it? So don't be afraid, even if it's not the status quo. And there's no like set path or right way, like Jayne was saying, like this, we're all just figuring it out, and that's okay. And I think the beauty of it, but and don't be afraid to reach out. My advisors, I like Googled successful women in cannabis, found this Forbes article, went on it, Gia was on it as well, and I like reached out to a handful of them that I thought could be helpful, and they got back to me. Like I had nothing to lose, and it was as easy as that, and I'm so grateful. And I think people and other women will, be the same way. So it's not this really daunting thing. Like if you send a LinkedIn message, like it's not the end of the world, and it could lead to, something great, a partnership, a connection, a job, whatever. So
you said earlier, no's eventually turn into a yes. Didn't you say that?
Yeah. And every no that you hear will lead you to the right yes. So just like bear that in mind when you hear a no and you think it's the end of the world, because it's not. It's just getting you to the thing that was meant for you. That no, it wasn't meant for you at that time. Like God has a bigger plan, a bigger purpose, and it'll happen at the right place, right time, right situation. So,
hey, Vanessa, was it scary doing your raise?
Yes, it was, because I hadn't seen a lot of people successful like me, especially in cannabis, to do a crowdfunding raise. When you think of crowdfunding, you think of like Kickstarter and all these other types of things, and people that have products. And so for a tech company to go on and do a crowdfunding raise was really new and something really unknown. But I think what really drew me to it was the fact that we could involve people that look like me and like everyone else to be a part of a business that maybe would have never had that opportunity before. Because with traditional capital, you know, you're working with a private firm or whatever, and you're only working with a couple of people. But with crowdfunding, anyone and everyone can invest and be a part of that company and be on that journey with them. So yeah, for us to have over 1,200 shareholders and investors now be on this journey with us has been amazing. And they're from all over the country, and it's been a really, really cool thing to be a part of.
That is so incredible. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Jayne, any advice for the person sitting on the sidelines? But this is the person that's not sitting exactly on the sidelines outside of the industry. This is the woman that's in the industry that might be a little stuck. What advice do you have for her? Oh, you're muted.
I am muted. No, I'm not. Thank you. I'm going to take that one back to the top, which is the flower is female. And holding on to that is a deeply empowering thing. And remembering that your voice matters and that the connections we have matter. The same way plants make connections and we have new strains, every time two women in the industry work together, something new is born. So just because you may be in a stuck situation doesn't mean that the people aren't there for you. It just means that you do have to take the leap, like Vanessa said. Call your friend who works for the person who owns that company and see if they have spots. Talk to, if you work in a dispensary, talk to the delivery drivers of the companies you like, see if they have openings. Send emails to support services. Check websites of companies you like to see if they have offerings. You will only get what you go after, and find the people that you can keep going after, because squeaky wheels get the oil. And if you continue to advocate for yourself, you will find the right person who will get you to the right spot.
I love that. Well, I'm going to bounce over to Massachusetts. Leah, what advice do you have for the woman that wants to get in? She's at her current job, but her husband's got this amazing business and she wants to take the leap. What advice would you give her?
One, I would probably say take the leap, you know, and it is a little scary, but I would say take the leap. Also, there are, you know, more and more now social equity is becoming more and more important in this industry, you know, and so with social equity, there are more and more programs and more companies wanting to help people like us get into the industry. I think you need to look for those type of opportunities. You know, we all don't have $1 million to open up a retail store, or we all don't have the investors that we need to be able to open up these type of stores, you know. So we have other programs, like even my program that I'll be doing, it'll be the same thing. I'm gonna help people create products to put on the shelves without having a product manufacturing license, you know, and that's like your soap, you know, people have approached us for soap, lotion, lip glosses, and all these things. So these are things that us women that we love. And those are things I think those are the opportunities that you need to try to find. You need to try to find those type of opportunities, and also join these groups. There are so many different groups out there. There's so many and other networks. There's just so many. And just, you know, and don't be afraid. Just reach out and say, hey. LinkedIn has so many resources too. Like there's so many, and you should just don't be afraid to reach out to somebody. We respond pretty quickly if you reach out to us. You know.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Marvina, at this point, I don't care if the woman's sitting on the sidelines or she's sitting in an office. You've been on both sides. What advice are you going to give her?
You know, first of all, do not let anybody tell you no. If they tell you no, you keep going and you keep going and you keep going. Keep the head up high, because sometimes when you hear that no, you get frustrated. You really do. I did. I had so many people tell me, oh, I'm going to help you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that for you. And ended up doing nothing for me. So I was like, you know what? Okay. I keep my head up high. I keep that smile on my face. And I keep pushing, because you got to keep pushing. It's not about how much money do I need to start. You know, start on something small, like a bar of soap. And now I'm running a multi-million-dollar company. So you can do it. If you need help, I'm here. I've always, and Gia, you knew this, I've always wanted to be a mentor. My focus this year, I said I was going to invest into 2 women that is trying to start their companies. And I'm doing it is because us building a community is what we need right now. We need to have that. And if I can be that woman on the sideline to help this woman grow as a beautiful flower, then I'll do that.
Great.
So I keep that up. That's number 1. Keep that smile on your face. Never let anybody tell you no. You keep pushing until you hit that mark. Close mouth, don't get fed. Always hee, ha. That's what I have to say.
I love it, Marvina. You know, and I think Jayne hit it on the head. Like 2 women coming together. That's beautiful. That something beautiful was just born. And so tonight, ladies, what I'd say to you is that I think we have 2 times 2 times something even
Got an
more magical.
exponential curve going on right now.
That's right. We sure do. And I absolutely appreciate all of you. You know, first of all, thank you all for all that you're doing. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for what you'll be doing next and what you'll be doing after that, because I'm going to speak it into, you know, the future for you already. I think that that we need more of this. We'd like to continue seeing more of this. And I appreciate each of you so much. Before we wrap, I think you heard Jayne talking about what Curaleaf is doing. We'll be sharing more about that on Monday. So be sure to tune in to our Instagram show, C-Suite Conversations, where you'll hear this amazing partnership that we have with Curaleaf. And then next week also, and so that's Monday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time on our Instagram page. But then also on the 25th, we've got Parisa that's going to be doing a tour at Curaleaf, and she'll be posting and doing almost like a social media takeover for us, as well as we have another location that will be doing something there as well in Florida. So there's incredible things that are about to happen. And I want to thank these women because this was our way of celebrating, of observing her story month, right? Women's History Month. And I feel like not only have we made history already, but that we will continue to make history. So thank you to Curaleaf for being our partner in this. Thank you, Marvina. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Leah. And thank you, Jayne. And for those of you tuning in, we appreciate you. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you, Gia.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.